Hey Forefront, we are back with another Web Wednesday where we jump in to series that didn't make it into our weekend services, but were too good to just leave hanging until 2021. And so we're talking about everything from reading our Bibles to prayer to faith and politics, mental health, and more. And so sit back as we jump into episode 7 of our series, Binge Reading the Bible. Do you remember a time in a situation in life where you looked and thought, I don't know how in the world I got here, and I don't see any way out? I know for me, I've had multiple times in life where I've just looked around and thought, this is ridiculous about what's taking place right now. And God, where are you? How can you help me? I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was honoring you and following you. I was going to church and reading my Bible and praying. And why is this happening? Well, maybe you, like me, have been there in those moments where you just didn't know how you got there and you had no idea how you were going to get yourself out. There's a guy in the Old Testament of the Bible named Daniel, and he was doing that very thing, honoring God. He was a servant to the king and doing things that were just pleasing to God. And well, some other people saw that he was rising up in popularity and in influence, and they wanted to completely get rid of him and put him to rest. And so they went to the king one day and said, hey, we want to make sure that you are honored above all. And so for the next 30 days, no one can pray to any other gods or people other than you. And so the king's like, well, that sounds great. We're going to write that into law. And so they wrote it into law. Daniel heard about the law. It said, I'm not going to stop praying to my God. And so sure enough, he did and would continue to pray to God. And they caught him in that moment doing what was honorable to his God, because we honor God before we honor kings and rulers and authorities. And so we honoring God, and well, things didn't go well for him. He was brought before the king. And check out what it shares here in Daniel chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. Then the men went as a group to King Darius and said to him, remember, your majesty, that according to the law of the Medes and Persians, no decree or edict that the king issues can be changed. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, may your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you. A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation may not be changed. Now, Daniel in this moment is caught in probably one of the worst games of pickle. You say, I got myself in a pickle that we could ever imagine. He's been sealed into this cave, dropped down into this den with lions, and told, hey, hopefully you make it till the night, through the night and into the morning. And I don't know about you, but I would be terrified. I would be so frustrated, scared, angry. We've got what is happening? But no, not Daniel. It says that Daniel prayed to God and that God sent angels to close the mouths of the lions. And so when they opened up the cave the next day and opened up the den, there was Daniel. The king rushed there because he loved Daniel, but felt so bad about the decree that he had been tricked in to signing. And then at that moment, not only did Daniel, but the king honored God. You see, Daniel was protected in those moments because God cared for him. And when we dive into accounts like this, we get to learn a very important truth, that God cares for and protects his people. And see, that may be news to you. That may be something that you're just going, man, I can't believe that. I've been through moments and I've had difficulties and I've asked myself, where is God? And I've had the very same questions at times about things that were going on in life and taking place. And God, where are you? What is happening? We actually had an instance where we kind of watched God show off in moments where you think, God, where are you? I feel trapped. Now what? My wife and I, our morning routine for that day when I was off was completely changed, out of the norm of what we normally would be doing. And so we were at the rec center, and I was supposed to be driving separate, but we rode together. And then we ended up going to our daughter's dance class. It was pouring down rain. I had stuff that I needed to do. I wasn't supposed to be there at that time. We weren't even supposed to get there early to our dance class. And as we pull up, we see another friend that goes to Forefront who we normally don't run into because of schedules and timing, that just walks out. We're like, hey, what's up? My car battery died. So-and-so has the kids. Husband is out of town and deployed, and walking through all these things. We're like, whoa, wait a second. And Carrie goes, hey, don't we have jumper cables in the back? And she's like, are you serious? I was calling a neighbor trying to figure out who to get over here. And so, yeah, sure, check in the back, hook it up, get her car jump started. She gets to the place to get a battery. And in the middle of all that, we're talking about how, man, it takes a village. And man, it's so amazing what God kind of orchestrates. And I would call that God's divine providence. These moments where it's not luck, it's not the stars aligning, it's God orchestrating care and taking ownership of making sure that we're protected, God caring for his people, making sure that his people are safe. And there are moments that we could tell in our own lives, and stories I could share of others, where God looked at a situation that it was taking place and said, I am protecting you. I am caring for you. You may not see it in the moment right now. You may not see how all this is playing out, but I promise you that I am caring for you. And it's good to have those reminders, and we find those when we engage the story of God, when we engage the Bible. And over at the link there, we have some tools to help you in engaging your faith daily. There's a Bible app that you can download, and there's a 2020 reading plan that you can follow along with there. And it's never too late to start reading. Even if you're starting it now in February, it's an awesome opportunity to engage and find out how God is telling your story in his bigger story of love and hope and grace. You know, we love you guys. We hope you have an amazing week, and we cannot wait to see you next Web Wednesday. And make sure to share this with a friend and somebody that just needs a little encouragement on days that don't go so well, and let them know, hey, listen, God's got you. He is protecting you. And just like Daniel, he is not going to let you be harmed. And even if we were to pass from this life, we have a greater life in store for us when we follow him. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.